What's up, guys? I'm Steve. In this video, we're going to be going over some potential big running back handcuffs that might be on your waiver wire still. We're getting to the playoffs, people. Let's get into that push. We got to ensure our studs. That's what we got to do. We're not worried about all these little wide receiver threes and things. We need proper depth just in case our stud goes down. So getting into this, we're going to start off with probably the biggest one for this week, at least. Samaje Perine. Samaje Perine, he stepped into an every down role once Joe Mixon left the game early with injury. He rushed 11 times for 30 yards, adding 4 catches for 52 yards and the 3 receiving TDs. We still don't know the status of Joe Mixon, but if Samaje Perine is on your waiver wire, I certainly suggest going to grab him. He's going to get all the snaps, man. He's going to get everything in that backfield if Joe Mixon is ultimately ruled out. All the usage if Joe Mixon is out is what Samaje Perine is going to get. Against the Tennessee Titans, the matchup is tough with that, that stout run defense that the Titans possess. But Samaje Perine, he made his presence felt through the air. So if he's not getting it done on the ground, he can get it done through the air, potentially. But, in this high-powered Bengals offense, there's certainly all that upside to certainly, smash like he did last week. So going over to another handcuff here, Matt Breida of the New York Giants. He's not a sexy name, but he is the backup to Saquon Barkley, which is a very sexy name. Matt Breida, he's had a pretty consistent role in this Giants offense up to this point. He's averaging about 20% of the snaps each week, and even scoring a TD this week in Week 11. At this point in the season, again, we're looking at playoffs. We're looking at insurance for our studs, people. That's what we're looking at. Saquon Barkley has been nothing short of an absolute monster this year. He's playing 80% of the snaps. He has over 1,000 scrimmage yards, 6 total touchdowns. We're not saying Matt Breida is going to be Saquon Barkley if Saquon Barkley were to ever go down. But Matt Breida would be instantly stepping into a 3-down role. There's more rushing opportunity, more opportunity if Saquon were to ever go down, if he did go down. Make sure you have Matt Breida on your bench. If you're rostering Saquon Barkley, I feel that's the smart move. And even if you're not holding Saquon Barkley, if you have a roster spot, why not? Pick him up, just keep him there. He's going to hang out. He's going to, look at your starting lineup and wish he was back in there, like the glory days back in like 2017 or something. Keep him on your bench. He's worth it if you have a spot. So now we're going to go over to another guy here, and Mike Boone. So I'll take a big L on this one. In my previous Week 11 waiver wire ads, I mentioned, or not Week 11, Week 12 waiver wire ads, I mentioned how you should pick up Chase Edmonds as a speculative ad, with Latavius Murray now being the starter. I didn't know he had a high ankle sprain, and he was put on IR. So for those I told to go get him, I apologize for that. Didn't know he had the high ankle sprain. But now, with all that being said, Mike Boone, he isn't eligible to return from IR until Week 13, so you don't need to rush and go grab him. But there's no more Melvin Gordon. Chase Edmonds is now on IR. Latavius Murray is 32 years old. Who's Marlon Mack? Who the heck is Marlon Mack, right? I think Mike Boone could very easily carve out a significant role once he returns. It kind of looked like he was starting to carve out a role before he got hurt in Week 7, but we don't know. But with the destruction of this Denver Broncos backfield, I wouldn't be feeling too confident in leaving all the keys to a 32-year-old running back. So I feel Mike Boone is a decent little ad, especially if an IR spot. You can just put him on your IR spot and just see what happens. So lastly, I'm just going to mention these names just because if their respective starter goes down, they have the potential to be a 3-down role in their offense. Alexander Madison of the Vikings. If Dalvin Cook were to ever go down, Madison steps into a 3-down bell cow role, and he just has upside on upside with a very potent Vikings offense. Isaiah Spiller of the Chargers, again, another very high potent offense. Another player who will be stepping into a 3-down role. Another player who's going to be stepping into a role that the backfield gets targeted like crazy. I think Austin Eckler is on pace for like 141 targets or something crazy like that. that's the kind of role Isaiah Spiller would be stepping into if Austin Eckler were to ever go down. So I think he's a pretty solid ad, especially if you have Austin Eckler. I would be keeping him as insurance on my bench. And then Kenneth Gainwell of the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this one's not so highly sought after, but if Miles Sanders were to ever go down, I feel like Kenneth Gainwell would be the biggest beneficiary. Yeah, you got Jalen Hurts getting his with the rushing game. You got Boston Scott mixing in there a little bit, but overall, I feel like the rushing upside with, I guess, no Miles Sanders in the way of him would lead to him having more rushing yards and rushing upside and things like that. But that one's like a more like a if you want to kind of deal. But I think that's all I got for this video. I appreciate everybody for listening, and I hope to see you in the next one.